I will now introduce lesson 16, which will have to do with the cal active participle and suffixes on the sign of the accusative. The cal active participle has a paradigm that looks like this. So taking the verb to appoint, pocade, you get pocade, pocadet, pocadim, and pocadot. Now I note in this paradigm, in at least the edition of Ross on Logos as of the time of this recording, that this or pocada is misplaced. It should be under the feminine singular as an alternative feminine singular form. So the more common form is a siglet type feminine, pocadet, whereas an alternative would be a pocada. But it doesn't belong here, it belongs to the left. Well, anyway, the thing that marks all these cal active participles is a holum. So between the first consonant and the second consonant, you have a holum that can sometimes show up as a holum vav, a vowel letter, sometimes simply as the dot, the holum. But that's the main mark of the cal active participle, is the holum. Now, there are some reasons why this pattern will break down. One reason will be is if you have a guttural in the second position, if you have a guttural there. So you have sa'ak, which means to cry out. And so ache is a masculine singular, one who cries out. So eket is she who cries out. So akim are those who cry out, masculine plural. And so akot would be those ladies who cry out. And here under, and unfortunately there's a typo again here, here under the what should be an ayin is a hataf patah. Here it actually shows it correctly as an ayin. But again, the pattern would be to put a shavah here, but because you have a guttural, you cannot do that. And I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to copy this and report a typo. That should be an ayin. Well, anyway, moving on. If you have a guttural in the third position with either an ayin or a chet, you will tend to get furtive patah in the masculine singular form. So you get shomea, because the ayin likes the A. The pattern is, OE. You're supposed to have an E here. But since the ayin prefers the A, it just grabs one. And so you get a shomea. It also affects the feminine form. Normally you get a sagol, but because of the guttural, it goes to patah. So it becomes shoma'at instead of shome'et. Otherwise, that particular form would be regular. When you have a aleph at the end of a root, that'll be regular in some forms. So the masculine singular is shorei, korei, one who calls. Shema is back here. Korei is one who reads or one who calls out. And the plural, shoraim and shoraot, the masculine plural and the feminine plural, are all according to the usual pattern. But what happens with the feminine singular, you should have this kind of siglet pattern with segol, segol. But because of the aleph, segol, segol, aleph is inclined to quiesce, become quiet. And when it quiesces, you get a short E and a short E, and you add two short E's together, and when the aleph quiesces, and you end up with a long E. And so instead of getting koret, you get korate. Koret gravitates to korate, and the korate's the form you actually will see. Well, how do the participles actually work out in real life? Well, a participle is kind of a verbal adjective. So it's kind of like a verb, and it's kind of like an adjective. So it mixes the function of adjectives and verbs. As an adjective, it can be both attributive and predicate. So the example here, Hamelech HaShofet, literally the king, the judging one. And it means the king who judges, or the judging king. And so here, Shofet is behaving just like an adjective. Adjectives have to agree with the nouns they modify in gender and number and degree of definiteness when it's an attributive adjective. And so it agrees in gender, masculine, number, singular. It has the article, just as Melech has the article. And so that's the attributive adjective. Now, if it were Hamalka, the queen, then it would have to be the Shofetet with a feminine participle. But then you can use it as a predicate adjective. So you could say the Lord is good, Adonai Tov. Well, you can also say the Lord judges by saying is one who judges, is Adonai Shofet. And in this kind of construction, Shofet is functioning almost like a present tense verb. In fact, if you go to modern Hebrew, it simply is treated as a present tense verb. So this could mean that the Lord is a judge, or the Lord is judging, or the Lord judges, or it could be past tense, the Lord was judging, or it could be future tense, the Lord will judge, or the Lord is about to judge. All of those are possible meanings. But it would be a sentence. Since Lord is a personal name, that's definite. If you want to say the Lord is the judge, then you need a hashofet. But in this construction, it should be taken as a sentence. Now, you can put independent personal pronouns with this. And so the singular pronouns, like ani, you could take halak, to walk, and the participle is holek. So ani holek means I am walking, which, by the way, assumes that I am a male. If you were a female, it would be holeket. You'd have to use the feminine participle if the I is feminine. If you say she is writing, well, that would be he kotevet. He kotevet. And here you have to use the feminine participle since she is a feminine pronoun. And then if you said atem yoshavim, well, that would be, that's you masculine plural, and then Yashav is to sit or to dwell. The participle Yoshavim is you are sitting. And again, that would be a sentence. And notice, by the way, that when you have a sheen and then you put a holum there, very often they'll let the dot do double duty. And so that is the holum of the vowel, and it's also the holum of the dot of the sheen, to distinguish sheen from seen. And so since they were running out of space, they just allow them both to blur together in this kind of context. So it can be attributive adjective, it can be as a predicate, functioning almost like a present tense verb, or can be future or past depending on context, but a verbless clause. Then it can also be used as a noun. So shamar means to watch or keep, but shomarim would be watchers or keepers. Shafat means to judge, but hashofet could mean the one who judges, hence the judge. And on down the list, Yoshaveh, from Yoshav, to sit or dwell, Yoshaveh Yerushalayim would be the dwellers of Jerusalem, hence the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And Oyev is a participle of to hate, and it would mean enemy, and Oyevvehem is their enemies, but the form is a participle with a suffix attached to it, which also indicates that these participles can take pronominal suffixes, especially when they're used substantively, that is, when they are used as if they were nouns. Well, we'll continue this in the next video.